The Counts of Albon were members of the medieval nobility in what is now southeastern France. Guigues IV, Count of Albon, was nicknamed Le Dauphin of the Dolphin. His nickname morphed into a title among his successors. By 1293, the lands ruled by the Counts Albon, the old comitatus Albionis, were known as the Dauphiné of Viennois. The titles and lands had been part of the Holy Roman Empire since 1032. They passed to Philip VI of France in 1349 on condition that the heir to the French crown always be named Dauphin, and be personally holder of the lands and titles. By condition of the emperor, the Dauphin could never be united to France. When the King of France had no son, he would personally rule the Dauphin separately as Dauphin. Thus, the province technically remained in the Holy Roman Empire even after 1349, and it was administered separately from France well into the early modern period. It was incorporated into France only de facto with the rise of absolutism in the 17th century. Lords of Château d'Albon, House of Albon, Guigues IV Albon the Old, Count de Noisans, Grachives, Soudan and Briançonnet, Lord of Château d'Albon, ruled until 1070. Guigues II of Albon the Fat, Count in Grachives, Soudan and Briançonnet, Lord of Château d'Albon, ruled 1070 to 1079. Counts of Albon, House of Albon, Guigues III of Albon the Count, 1st Count of Albon, ruled 1079 to 1133. Guigues IV of Albon, Le Dauphin, Count of Albon, ruled 1133 to 1142. Counts of Albon and Dauphins of Viennois. Robert V, Count of Auvergne, married Marquise d'Albon, a daughter of Guigues IV. The descendants adopted the title of Dauphin of Auvergne, and it was used by some as the family name. House of Albon, Guigues IV of Albon, Count of Albon and Grenoble, Dauphin of Viennois, ruled 1142 to 1162. Beatrice of Albon, Dauphine of Viennois, Countess of Albon, Grenoble, Oisans et Briançon, ruled 1162 to 1228. Married Hugh III of Burgundy. House of Burgundy, Guigues IV of Viennois, Dauphin of Viennois, Count of Albon, Grenoble, Oisans and Briançon, ruled 1228 to 1237. Guigues VII of Viennois, Dauphin of Viennois, Count of Albon, Grenoble, Oisans, Briançon, Embrun and Gap, son of, ruled 1237 to 1269. John I of Viennois, Dauphin of Viennois, Count of Albon, Grenoble, Oisans, Briançon and Embrun, ruled 1269 to 1282. Anne of Viennois, Dauphine of Viennois, Countess of Albon, married Humbert, Baron of La Tour du Pin. House of La Tour du Pin, Humbert of Viennois, Baron of La Tour du Pin, Dauphin of Viennois and Count of Albon, ruled 1282 to 1307. John II of Viennois, Baron of La Tour du Pin, Dauphin of Viennois, ruled 1307 to 1318. Guigues VIII of Viennois, Dauphin of Viennois, ruled 1318 to 1333. Humbert II of Viennois, Dauphin of Viennois, ruled 1333 to 1349. Humbert II sold his lands and titles to Philip VI of France. Dauphins of Viennois and Dauphins of France. House of Valois, Charles I of Viennois, also King of France as Charles V, Dauphin of Viennois, Count of Diois and Valentinois, Duke of Normandy, ruled the Dauphinate as the first Dauphin of France and ruled the Dauphinate as King of France. John III of Viennois, Dauphin of Viennois, Count of Diois and Valentinois, ruled the Dauphinate as second Dauphin of France. Charles I of Viennois, ruled the Dauphinate as King of France. Charles II of Viennois, also King of France as Charles VI, Dauphin of Viennois, Count of Diois and Valentinois, ruled the Dauphinate as third Dauphin of France, ruled the Dauphinate as King of France. Charles III of of Viennois, Dauphin of Viennois, Count of Daiwa and Valentinois, ruled the Dauphinate as 4th Dauphin of France. Charles II of Viennois ruled the Dauphinate as King of France. Charles IV of Viennois, Dauphin of Viennois, Count of Daiwa and Valentinois, Duke of Guyenne, ruled the Dauphinate as 5th Dauphin of France. Louis I of Viennois, Dauphin of Viennois, Count of Daiwa and Valentinois, Duke of Guyenne, ruled the Dauphinate as 6th Dauphin of France. John IV of Viennois, Dauphin of Viennois, Count of Daiwa and Valentinois, Duke of Touraine, ruled the Dauphinate as 7th Dauphin of France. Charles V of Viennois, also King of France as Charles VII, Dauphin of Viennois, Count of Daiwa, Valentinois and Ponthieu, ruled the Dauphinate as 8th Dauphin of France, ruled the Dauphinate as King of France. Louis II of Viennois, also King of France as Louis XI, Dauphin of Viennois, Count of Daiwa and Valentinois, ruled the Dauphinate as 9th Dauphin of France, ruled the Dauphinate as King of France.